All aboard!
Hello there! Welcome back to Malfunction Junction. In case you don't remember, I'm Uncle Joe and I run the Shady Rest Hotel. Now, you remember that. Now, last week we didn't get the Cannonball Express back on schedule again. It's been 10 years because Betty Jo washed her laundry up in the laundry tank, in the water tank, and Floyd Smoot loaded salty water into the train, and it was a
disaster.
Double nightmare disaster. It certainly was. It took us all week to get this water tank cleaned out and the engine cleaned out, and now I'm helping them. I don't know if you noticed the hose here, but I'm helping them get the water tank refilled to get all the water back in there with good, fresh water.
I knew it.
That's what we're doing.
Oh, well, hey, Uncle Joe. How are you coming along with refilling the water tank?
Well, it's coming along okay. I don't know how much water to put in here, though. It's filling up pretty quick.
Huh. You know, I never really thought about it. I guess you just need to fill it to the top.
I don't know about that, you know. There is this line up here drawn in the middle of it about halfway up. I don't know if I should go above that or not. I don't want to put more water in it than the tank can safely hold because we sure don't want to spring a leak.
Oh, I mean, surely that won't happen. I would just go ahead and fill it to the top.
I
Morning, everyone. How's Uncle Joe coming along with refilling the water tank?
Well, it's coming along good, and he was just asking how much water he should put in the tank. So I told him just to fill it all the way to the top.
Are you sure that's a good decision, Charlie Smoot? I mean, after all, we wouldn't want the tank to get too much water in it and spring a leak. Maybe we should ask your twin brother, Floyd Smoot. After all, he is the smarter one, and he's an engineer, and he knows all about trains and water tanks.
I think that's a good idea. After all, we want to make sure that the Cannonball Express gets back on schedule this week. We don't want any more malfunctions here at Malfunction Junction.
Well, I don't know why you think he's the smarter one, and the problem is that my twin brother Floyd Smoot is not here right now. He went into Siler City to pick up some supplies. Siler City has terrible phone reception, so we probably can't get hold of him until he gets back. Let's just fill the water tank to the top. I'm sure it will be fine.
Wait a minute. If Siler City has such bad phone reception, how did the firemen know that you had started that fire in the bank a few weeks ago?
Oh, that's because the fire department doesn't use telephones. They use walkie-talkies instead. Hey, doesn't Floyd Smoot carry a walkie-talkie with him? Maybe you could reach him on a walkie-talkie.
Well, yes, Floyd Smoot does carry his walkie-talkie with him, and let's see, yes, I do have the other one right here, but I'm sure it's okay just to fill the water tank to the top. We don't have to do that.
Well, we need to find out something pretty fast because this is filling up pretty quickly.
Charlie Smoot, you need to contact your twin brother and ask him. Now just use the walkie-talkie and see what he says.
Okay, I think this is a waste of time, but we'll try it. Here we go. Floyd Smoot, Floyd Smoot. This is Charlie Smoot calling Floyd Smoot. Come in, Floyd Smoot.
This is Floyd Smoot. Help you, Charlie Smoot.
That didn't sound good. I'm sorry, you're breaking up. What did you say?
Smoot, how can I help you, Charlie Smoot?
You're still breaking up, Floyd Smoot. We need to know how much water to put in the water tank. How should we fill it up?
You have to be very careful with the water level. Fill it about
Ooh, I still can't understand you. What did you say?
I said that you can only fill it about Be sure not to fill it above the water line. Fill it to the top of the tank.
Oh, I think I heard you say that we need to fill it to the top of the tank. Is that correct?
No. Fill it to the top. That will cause the tank to spring.
Ooh. Well, I don't know exactly what he said. There's just too much static. But I'm sure it doesn't matter. I think he said that you can fill it to the top and it won't spring a leak.
Oh, Charlie Smoot. Hey, Smoot.
There's just too much static. I can't adjust it. I can't understand what he's saying. I think I'm going to walk out to the back and see if I can get better reception. Just keep filling it up.
That's probably a good idea. You know, all this talk on the walkie-talkie reminds me of a story in the Bible when God called Samuel. Does anybody know that story?
You know, I was just thinking the same thing, Uncle Joe. God called Samuel in the night when he was just a boy. And Samuel didn't even know who was calling him.
That's right. He was just a young boy, and God called his name when he was in bed. He said, Samuel, Samuel. And Samuel thought that it was Eli the priest that was calling him. So he got out of bed and he went to see what Eli wanted.
Right. And when he got to Eli's room, Eli told him that he had not called him and that Samuel should go back to bed.
That's right. And you know what? God had called Samuel. He called him 3 times. And each time, Samuel got up and went to Eli's room. But after the 3rd time, Eli realized that it must be God that was calling Samuel. So he told him to go back to bed, and he said, if you hear your name again, what you need to say is, speak, Lord, for your servant hears.
Yep, and that's exactly what he did. Then God spoke to Samuel and told him what he wanted him to do. That was how Samuel became a prophet in Israel.
And all of this talk about walkie-talkies reminds me of that. But, you know, I guess God didn't have any trouble with static when he was calling Samuel. And Joe, this water tank is getting really full. I hope this is okay.
Woo! I just got back from Siler City. I couldn't hardly hear what Charlie Smoot was saying on the walkie-talkie, though. I can't wait to finally get the Cannonball Express back on track. I feel like today is really going to be the day.
Oh, I really do hope so. Remember, this train hasn't left Malfunction Station in over 10 years.
Well, Uncle Joe, why are you still up there on that ladder? Is something wrong with the hose? It shouldn't take that long to fill up the tank to the water line.
What do you mean to the water line? Charlie Smoot told me that you said to fill it to the top of the tank. I knew that was a bad decision.
To the top? You can't fill it to the top. Didn't you hear all of that on the walkie-talkie? I told you to fill it up to the line on the inside of the tank. It should only be about half full.
Well, I mean, we couldn't hear you over the walkie-talkie. I mean, there was just so much static.
Well, how full is the tank? If you fill it to the top, there'll be too much pressure and it could spring a leak.
Looks like it's about 1 inch from the top.
Oh no! I'm going to turn off the water.
Wait, I think it's too late. It's beginning to leak. There's a leak coming out. Oh, my
Uncle
goodness.
Joe, do something. We're all going to get really wet.
Oh, my goodness. I can't. What am I supposed to do? Somebody give me some chewing gum so I can plug the leak.
We're getting wet. Just put your hand over the leak. Put your hand over it.
My hand over it. Okay. Okay.
This is a disaster. And we can't get the Cannonball Express going again this week. We've got to get it fixed.
It's still leaking. Dripping.
Oh, is it?
Apparently, it's another malfunction here at Malfunction Junction. It looks like we may never get the Cannonball Express to leave the station.
Oh, now don't give up on that. I've got an idea. Maybe we should take some time to think about all these malfunctions that have been happening for the last few weeks or the last few years, and maybe we can figure out why they keep happening. If we think about it, I bet we can figure out what we need to do.
That's a good idea, Uncle Joe. As soon as we can get this water tank fixed, we'll sit down and figure out what we can do.
Maybe you should drain some more water from that tank to where it's either half full or half empty, whichever one seems best.
That's probably a good idea, but I'm afraid to move my hand. But there is one thing that we can always remember. Come ride the little train that is rolling down the